Hey everybody, it has been. I am here with the new fuse box engaged for you all. I turned off the Wi-Fi because it's going in and out and it's driving me insane. We are going to be dissecting some stories today. And we're going to start off with Futurama. And I am here with, of course, one of our regular guests who is here to challenge me. This is Rosetta.
I don't know what you mean by challenge. I'm a perfect sweet angel. I never cause any trouble.
And my hair is just completely thick and totally covers my head.
Oh, you are so full of shit. I am not here to cause you any grief. I am sweetness and fucking light, you fucking ass.
Oh, Lordy. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about Futurama.
Yay! Bite my shiny metal ass.
Yeah. It was, I think you probably saw in the chat when I was asking for topic ideas, and 8-Bit just posted a meme of Bender, and I was just like, all right, I'll talk about Futurama.
And the new day of Futurama was born.
Oh God. Are you talking about the new episode?
No, fuck their new little reboot that they can't even get the actors all behind. No, I'm talking about we're going to have fun with it. Fuck them. Fuck those fuckers.
Yeah, Futurama.
Said the sweet angel.
Futurama was like, here. This is coming from a guy who was not really a big fan of The Simpsons. Like, I liked The Simpsons somewhat back in the day, like when I was about, I want to say 13 or 14 years old. And I quickly got over that, like when Family Guy came on the air. I
can't stand Family Guy.
Well, like, I don't like Family Guy now, but like back in its very beginning, I liked Family Guy.
Nope, and not even then.
And to me, to me, I just thought, like, you know, after Family Guy came out, I was like, yeah, I'm done with The Simpsons. The Simpsons are played out. But I really liked Futurama. I loved combining sci-fi and sarcastic comedy into a nice mishmash. But I think, unlike most people's favorite character is Bender. And I do love Bender, but my favorite character was Fry.
Actually, I'll go better than that. I liked Nibbler because he was cute and adorable, but ultimately psycho and controlling everybody.
I thought he was very wise. He was supposed to be like an advanced version of Yoda.
I just love that he was incredibly cute while he was destroying the entire population of a planet. You can't forget Lur either. I always loved Lur.
Well, I mean, Omicron Persei 8 is basically what I call the new version of COVID.
Same here, by the way.
But yeah, I loved the premise of Futurama, like the way it all started off, like the idea of like, oh, a guy in the late 90s getting frozen and waking up in the year 3000.
Let me put it to you this way. I have literal post-traumatic stress connected to a very specific holiday. And that holiday is referenced a fuck ton in the series because that's the day that Fry gets frozen. And yet I still like Futurama. I just have to pause or mute a lot during certain episodes to create a little sound clip right as they're saying that part. Because it literally triggers memories.
Well, I
still love the series, and I'm willing to watch it, which should tell you how much work I'm willing to go through to watch it.
I really like how intelligent it is and how dumb it is at the same time. it's a perfect combo. But you know, like everything I love, there are things that I like to critique. Um, I've always felt like Hermes wasn't really that funny.
No, and his wife was a trampy little piece of shit.
It's always felt like Hermes. It's like, to me, the idea of Hermes was sort of the joke.
To me, kind of felt like their token hire. They put the character in to have that diversity thing, and they didn't do it very well.
Well, it was like the initial idea of him, like oh, it's a Rastafarian who loves bureaucracy. It's like, that is kind of funny, but that's as far as they took it. It's like they didn't really expand on it. They didn't really give him anything super fun or unique. He just was kind of there. And Amy felt like she was just there to be eye candy.
Not that there's anything wrong with that, mind you. You need a little eye candy here and there.
Yeah.
Amy was fun to make fun of, though. I gotta give that character that. She's the spoiled little heiress that never knew any adversity, so everything was, I can't believe I have to go through this attitude.
I did enjoy how she became the father of Kip's children.
I know. That's hilarious. And a good way to work in the whole trans stuff and everything without being overtly in your face with it, wasn't it?
Pretty much. Interspecies differences. But of course, I think the one thing of Futurama, it was like one of the best episodes, and yet I can't ever watch it again because it'll scar me. And I think you know which one I'm talking about. The one with Fry's dog. Talk about hit you between the eyes with some extremely heavy sadness. Holy shit. Like, of all the shows to do something like that on, why would you do that on a satire?
I mean, where they even went to the point of showing the dog waiting for him for his whole life.
Yes,
and all that.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That one part that rips your heart out, completely rips it out. And they did it on a show like that. And also the episode when Leela meets her parents finally. Because that was very emotional. That's not something I'm used to from something by Matt Groening.
Futurama had a very unique flair to it with the way he took on the stories, and I appreciated that part of it, actually, even though at times it was a little dark and hard to watch. I appreciated that it wasn't just what you get everywhere, you know?
Yeah. I appreciated I appreciated the combination of intelligence and slapstick. You know, they went into some pretty heavy science, although compared to Rick and Morty, it's probably not as heavy.
Oh, I hate Rick and Morty.
Well, I'll get to that later. But freaking yeah, I loved
I have to say this because we're bringing up Futurama, and it ties in line with something. A couple weeks ago, there was that whole politician got caught basically claiming that literally ice fishing will lead to ice shanties and hookers, and then assault of police officers and stuff like that in this speech. And so I actually made and used a Bender meme on the politician's speech on them. And I'm sending that over into the private chat for you. And it's actually a reference to the Moon episode where they were on the amusement park in the Moon.
Can you do the thing where you share it in the guests area?
Yeah, give me just a sec. I have to post it to the group and then open it up because I'm working on a crappy laptop and phone. So it's got to go back and forth for a sec, but I can do it.
I'm just working on my crappy phone. and I had to turn off the Wi-Fi.
This was what I posted to them when all that happened.
Let's see.
Now my computer's lagging more. And you remember his "I'm gonna build my own amusement park with blackjack and hookers."
I don't remember any of that. Like, I want to know what this. I want to know who this guy was.
Oh God, the whole story behind it is that some politician over in Ohio, I believe it was literally claiming that giving people permits to ice fish on this lake would lead to ice shanties being built on that lake, which would lead to ice shanties being built on the lakes and rivers in town, which would lead to hookers in the ice shanties, which would lead to police officers getting assaulted trying to stop the hookers. And this was an actual speech in the political meetings up in Ohio there.
Oh, oh my God. That is the greatest thing I've ever heard from a politician.
So I instantly listening to that speech, I instantly thought of Bender's "I'm going to build my own place with blackjack and hookers." So I had to make a version of it and send it off to that.
That's almost as good as Joe Biden talking about his hairy legs.
But that's just one of my moments. See, Futurama links into my mind in a way that when I hear something that has any connection similar, I can find a way to make jokes with it with Futurama.
I think my favorite Bender moment was just when he was doing his own TV show and they were accusing him of like corrupting the youth. And when he finally gives his big heartfelt speech about it, he's like, shouldn't you just try turning off the TV, sitting down with your children, and beating them?
Mm-hmm. I remember that. Well, I mean, again, it goes that goes to Matt Groening's humor. It goes also to one of the older episodes they had of Simpsons where Krusty was being protested for. Basically, he did a stunt when he had a cameo in the old Batman, which Milhouse and Bart found out about and tried to reproduce it, making Milhouse so sick he threw up on a flag. So he's getting protested by all these women going, "Stop corrupting our children!" No. Just looks at him and goes, "No," while he's smoking. Like, fuck you, bitches.
But I think Fry was definitely my favorite character just because I always kind of wanted his dumb confidence. I think my favorite thing was like, I think Bender was asking it when Bender realized that he was mortal, that he could die, that he would die eventually. He's like asking everybody, how do you deal with your mortality? And everybody's talking about like their different coping mechanisms. And then they get to Fry and he's like, thanks to denial, I'm immortal. That was my favorite line from Fry. Although I really did enjoy it when he sang "Walking on Sunshine" while washing somebody's back. I forgot who it was. Oh God. I mean, who the hell doesn't love Zap Brannigan?
Oh, Zap was a beautiful spoof of Kirk. Absolutely beautiful. And okay, yes, he's a very insulting spoof of Kirk, but he was still fucking hilarious. I don't care. And that's as somebody who is a big fan of the original series. I don't care because he was fucking hilarious.
That's, the funny thing is, I don't think I ever watched the original series of Star Trek.
Oh, God,
I only watched.
Fail on so many levels.
I watched TNG, but I didn't watch the original.
You fail on so many levels. Oh fuck! You just made me embarrassed for you.
TNG was a great show. Up until like the last couple seasons.
Even in the last couple of seasons, they did have some really good, cute episodes and some deep moments. It was more hit or miss, but I mean, come on. I actually have a shirt literally done up as a Fistful of Data's shirt.
You know that, like, I can say for certain that, like, one of the weird patterns with me with shows that I like is I tend to not like the last couple seasons. It's like with almost every show that I've seen.
Actually,
like
I can name a lot of shows that got a lot worse in the last seasons. That's not uncommon. And some of the episodes did in Next Gen, but they did still have some good ones that really hit it well. Especially going into Picard's past and Q's second rehash of the trials and all that stuff. They had some great moments. They just had more, I would say, in-between blah episodes than the early seasons.
Like, even with Futurama, I didn't like this, like, when they switched over to Comedy Central. I didn't really like most of those episodes.
I didn't actually like most of those episodes either, although I loved the one making fun of Apple and Twitter.
Yeah, that one was good.
Wait, look, here comes a twit now. I love you, mommy. New battery. Mom's constant abuse of her children. The fact that when he did the movies, and they later relaunched all 4 movies as a season of the show by breaking all of them into 4 episodes. But when they did the movies and they did Beast with Alien Backs, it's like, how does nobody realize that he is literally making a Futurama version of a hentai movie? And he actually went into the tentacles. He even referenced that the tentacles were actually a sexual act in it.
Oh, yeah. No, I remember that.
I'm like, he was pushing as far as he could into the dark hentai shit and still get away with selling it to the American mainstream. And so many people bought it without even seeing it. It was fucking hilarious.
Shit, I didn't even think of that. Fuck.
But Bender's Game has to be my favorite part of all Futurama. The movie for Bender's Game, dealing with all the D&D stuff.
Oh, God.
And the orcs chanting about kill this, and eat the robot shiny butt. But they're like, kill the wizard, kill the slut, eat the it's fucking great. And the thing is, Bender's Game, while it really went ridiculous and over the extreme and really went into fantasy and goofball and the nerd culture and stuff, actually did it in such a way it explained a lot of the past of the professor. It explained a lot about mom and her kids. It actually had a lot of intellectual moments in it. You know?
Yeah.
But it was so off-the-wall bullshit. It was fun.
I enjoyed when the episode when they used the time machine and they ended up getting stuck and like they ended up having to go all the way through the end of the universe. And then the universe just restarted and it happened exactly the same way, except everything was a few meters lower than it was before.
See, I really wasn't fond of that part, but I will say, I did like when they got stuck in time and Fry became his own grandfather.
Oh, that's probably one of my favorites. That was obviously the Back to the Future one. Making fun of the fact that, what's his name? Making fun of the fact that Marty McFly, you know, basically almost did it with his own mother.
Fact. And the thing is, actually, and I love the Back to the Future stuff, but I will argue with the people who go, and it was so well done, and there was perfect continuity and stuff. And they're going, no, there fucking wasn't. No, there fucking wasn't. I've sat there and debunked that. I've sat there and pointed out places where scenes were not the same when they were trying to have them go back and forth into it and stuff. I've already debunked the continuity was not as good as they act like it was. It wasn't as bad and as glaring as a lot of movies are, but it wasn't this spot-on perfect masterpiece. And that's as somebody who's a massive fan of Back to the Future. But it was not the spot-on masterpiece they portray it as either. you know?
And it's funny we bring that up because I was talking about how like I don't like the endings to most things, but my favorite ending of all time was the ending of the first Back to the Future.
I have to admit, I actually have a little bit of a weakness for the third one, which is really weird for a couple reasons. A, I don't usually like the end of trilogies. I just don't usually. Kind of the exception would be the prequels, because he got the closest to the spirit of the original Star Wars in those with the Revenge of the Sith out of those movies. It's better than the other two.
Yeah.
It's still not as good as the originals, but it's better than the other two. You know? But
Definitely.
and I have a huge weakness for Ewoks because I do like cute things, but I think they went way too fucking far trying to make cute with the Baby Yoda bullshit. It's just baby Star Wars. Star Wars babies. I mean, but usually I don't like the end of the trilogies as much, but I like the end of Back to the Future so much. And the biggest reason actually came to a few things. A, I grew up in the Old West stuff. I grew up in the Black Hills. I grew up around they still have most of the Old West preserved there. It's still an active part of people's life to deal with those towns and that stuff and all of it. And so I grew up with the Old West stuff constantly around me. Again, I have the Fistful of Data shirts. They reference the city I grew up in it. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
So I have a little weakness to that, but I've never been fond of Westerns that are just Westerns, because to me, they're annoying almost. They're over cliche, they're overhyped, and they're goofy. So if I'm going to watch a Western, it has to be a comedy that has other goofy stuff added intentionally. If that makes sense.
I can see that.
With an exception being, I kind of do have a weakness for Tombstone, but that goes back to more of the Val Kilmer stuff. So, and again, Val Kilmer, when he did Thunderheart and he dealt with the res and he dealt actually studying my culture, my family and stuff, he did it so well. He cared so much. He actually went and lived with them on the res for a while and learned about the culture and stuff. And that you have to respect. You know?
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, when they talk the movie Thunderheart, you're talking about, the Russell Means era AIM in the 70s and dealing with the tribal uprisings because of the abuse in the reservations and stuff, which honestly need to happen again because the reservations are shit and are still abusing people. You're dealing with the 70s and stuff with that. That's my family's lineage and history. And when you talk about AIM, most of what happened involving AIM happened on Pine Ridge and Standing Rock. Pine Ridge is my family mostly on that res. I also have a large amount of my family on Standing Rock. My mom was a teenager on the res in Standing Rock when that was going on in the 70s as a white girl. And she actually was almost killed by a group of girls who literally tried to kill her for being white on the res.
Oh, shit.
So when you talk about this stuff happening, and they talk about this and deal with this in that movie, and they talk about, there was the bigotry of both ways, and they showed it in that movie where there was an automatic racism on both sides towards each other. That really was how it was then. Because there was the people that were on the res were so tired of being racially disregarded and disrespected, and the people on the outside were hearing these stories, but when they come in, they're seeing horrible treatment towards them, bad names they're being called, racial crap being done to them. So why would they want to believe the people in the res are what they're being told they are? And it created a very bad divide in society, and that is true. And so not many people would A, do a story dealing with that, B, actually go down and live in the third world hellhole and talk to the relatives and the families and the people that were there and deal with it. You got to have respect for a man who's willing to.
Hell yeah.
I have a soft spot for Val Kilmer. Even now, even though he got very fat. I mean...
Speaking of TV shows with bad endings, did you ever watch Gotham?
I didn't. I'd already basically checked out of entertainment by then.
I used to love it. Like my dad, that was like a big bonding thing for me and my dad, was we would watch the new Gothams together. And like, it was pretty good up until I think like end of season 3, then it went season 4 and 5 were horrible. Like the characters, like they took so many liberties with the Batman mythos that it became totally unrecognizable. I think towards the end of season 4, they were really trying to shoehorn in some feminist undertones. And I mean, they were doing it in the sloppiest way imaginable. Like, the character of Barbara Keene went through so many fucking character changes so suddenly. No build up, nothing. First, she's psycho. Then she's a gangster. Then she's a gang leader. We don't see her become the gang leader. She just becomes one. Then she becomes Ra's al Ghul's pet project for no reason. Then she becomes a gangster again. It
gets painful, the mental gymnastics they do to create some of these stories. See, and here's the thing is, I know it's stereotypical chick here or there, but yeah, I actually, when it started, I actually loved Once Upon a Time at the beginning. Because I actually thought it did a good job of bringing a darker side out of the fairy tales into a modern era. And it was good for the first few seasons. Do you know what was the point where they really pissed me off?
Nope.
And it was actually before all the stuff that got most of the people pissed. Because most of the people got mad when they started to... Well, it was really weird and awkward that they suddenly turned Ruby lesbian so that they could have her make out with Dorothy when she'd been a man-crazy tramp the entire series before that, you know? It really made no sense. It literally threw all the Born This Way stuff into a turmoil, and it just completely dismissed the entire character's arc. So that was awkward anyways, and it's not even... They could have done such a better job with so many other characters that would have fit that role better, you know? But that made me awkward anyways. It's like, okay, now you're starting to shoehorn in stuff for a political agenda. Then they went to what they called the Dark Swans segment. Now, the series was done in segments. Every season had 2 sections of 10 to 13 episodes that were one storyline arc. The segment 1, segment 2 was the first season. And they did this all the way through the entire series. Every fall, winter, and then spring to early summer was a different segment of the series. A kind of a different season, even though some were the same season, you know? At the beginning of season 4, they did the arc that they called Dark Swan, which was the main character, Ms. Swan, becoming the Dark One, or basically taking on the demonic form of Rumpel. And in that segment, which it did make sense the way they explained her having to do this to save the day and stuff and all that, but they basically took dream catchers and native symbolism into this section and called them demonic black art.
Oh boy.
And I'm sitting there going, you fucking assholes. Talk about disrespecting people's cultures. You know? And it's and this is a trend for Disney. Disney, every time they deal with things that involve natives, it is the most condescending pander, or it is the most absolutely stereotyping bigotry. And this is a long-standing history with Disney.
Oh yeah,
there was a lot of
see that.
There was a lot of things in the show that were good, including the fact that even though this was supposed to be this more progressive, modern show, they actually defended the idea that it is a child in the womb and doing anything to defend your unborn child and stuff like that.
That's pretty incredible.
That's not stuff you're going to get usually in this culture.
No.
And so there were some really good things in those early seasons that made me want to love it. But then they did the whole Dark Swan thing, and I checked out hard there for a bit. And my husband kept trying because we liked the show, and he wanted to see if they actually at least tried to backpedal their behavior a bit. And they acted like they did for the next couple segments, and then they just suddenly said, okay, well, we're going to end the show. All the story arc for all the main characters, the original town, everything is solved. The day is saved. Everyone has their happily ever after at the end of season 6, but we're going to start at season 7. And in season 7, we're going to somehow have the entire world is recreated with the new arc into another city, and we're just going to race swap everybody.
Oh, Jesus.
And at that point, we're both just sitting there going, oh, fuck this shit. And And the
But
thing
that
is,
was kind of
it was a great show at the beginning. It really was. Oh, shut up, Warren.
That sounds a lot like what ended up kind of happening with Walking Dead. Because I mean, you know, the central storyline with Walking Dead was Rick trying to protect his family and trying to figure out how to survive in this new world. And then, like, once you got to about, what was it, season 6, I think? No, season 7. In season 7, that's when they all did this whole thing with, they got Carl, Rick's son, gets bitten, and so he dies, which didn't happen in the comics, and that's just, it's like that took away one of Rick's major motivations in the whole story. It was, he's trying to keep his son alive, and his son kicks it in the 7th season, and then, after the war with Negan is done and everything, they fake Rick's death to get him off the show.
No, I mean, I will admit, when it comes to dark mythology and horror movie stuff that's taken on, my least favorite is zombies overall. And now he crashes, so give me just a moment here. Let me do the sinister villain thing while I stroke my kitty on air. I mean... But I'm not a big zombie person. I never have been. To me, they're kind of an immature story to me. I prefer a lot of other mythology. But some places do the zombie thing better than others. Don't they? Don't they? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. I know. You want attention. And I'm not a big fan of the over grotesque horror movie zombies because to me, they just don't... They don't scare me, so I get bored with it. You know what I mean? But for the comedy side of it, I love how they took on the zombies when they did these spoof episodes in Psych.
How much of my rant did you miss?
Basically, right before I put myself on camera, you really started chipping in and out, and most of that whole time you were gone.
Well, I was basically talking about how, you know, Rick's biggest motivation was protecting his family.
I heard part of that. It's something about they were starting to fake his death, and then you kind of went... And he's glitching again. Yeah, good kitty, good kitty, good kitty. The world revolves around you. We all know it. Yeah, I know. Yeah. What are you doing? What are you doing?
This fucking phone.
This cat thinks the world's supposed to revolve around her. And she turns and looks at me like, it's not? Since when?
Well, she's a cat. I mean, that's what all cats think.
You remember the yowling you heard behind me when I was streaming from the car on the way home?
Yep.
That was her. By the way, she's not necessarily being bad when she does that. She is part Bengal, Mau, and Siamese, which are very vocal, talkative species. So she's very talkative, even when she's happy. She's sitting here in my arms purring, and she's meowing and moving around while she does it. That's normal for her. Yeah. You're just a talkative, loudmouth little pain in the ass, aren't you? Okay. Go on. That's right, jump. That's what I said. This is your wake-up call. All things that have been said are the fault of me alone and not Ben. If you have any problems, please address them to the bitch, otherwise known as Eagle Rider. Oh, Lord.
This damn phone. This phone's driving me nuts.
I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Jesus Christ. I hate this. I hate this fucking phone. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Good God Almighty. This phone.
Poor Ben.
A half an hour ago. Rick, protecting his family. His son gets bitten in season 7, so he dies. So there goes most of Rick's motivation through the show. And then Rick himself semi-dies and gets written off the show. And so there goes your main character. And so it's like, what am I supposed to cling to now? Norman Reedus? I'm not a woman or a gay guy. Norman Reedus is not enough.
Okay.
Did it actually come through?
You came through. Came through with a little anger.
Okay. Well, I'm angry at this fucking phone.
Yeah.
Sec.
Poor Ben.
I hate this. I hate this. I hate it.
I'd give you a hug if I could.
I really liked Negan though. Negan was because Walking Dead was getting very boring in the 5th and 6th season. And then when they brought Negan in, it was like, whoa, this was the shot in the arm we needed. But then after the war ended, I'm like, all right, I'm ready to check out. So it's like, just end the show. But no, because Melissa McBride and Norman Reedus. Ooh.
See, and that's the thing. They cling to these two. If it's a cash cow, if it's something that's making money, if it's something that has a molecule of success or fame, they will keep milking it even when it should have died. Case in point, even with Once, even if you took out the anger I had at what they did in the couple times, I still overall liked most of the series up through season 6. It still would have been a good ending if they had ended it where they fucking ended season 6. Instead of going, oh no, wait, we need a little more money out of this. Let's try to milk it another season.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of shows where it feels like they should have just cut it at a certain point. Because it's like it would have been a satisfying way to end it. But, you know, they were like, well, no, we got the rating.
Stop. I mean, I can think of a lot of shows that I would have rather they ended on one of these seasons than the one they did, you know?
I would have said.
Oh, go for it. Go for it. Name a couple you feel that way about. Other than The Walking Dead.
Name. The Flash.
Okay.
Definitely The Flash. Arrow. Arrow had like a gorgeous furry and a pretty good second season. And like went third arduous character, and I gave up on that after about season 4 or 5. And then Flash, I gave up after season 5. I'm like, all right, you know, was interested about this show is out the window, and they're just milking it. Here's a controversial opinion. Everybody Loves Raymond should have ended after season 7. There, I said it.
Here's a more controversial opinion. That show never should have made it. Sucked. And the characters were whiny as hell.
I don't know. I liked Everybody Loves Raymond in the beginning and middle. It was just the ending was where everybody was.
I'm the one who gets teased. I'm the one who gets teased that you hate everything. I am very critical of things. I'm very critical of things. And the thing is that, yeah, there's a lot of stuff where you push so far, you push so long. Even with a lot of like game shows and stuff, they'll push so long and it starts getting monotonous. Or look at how long Ramsey shows have been going. I love them to pieces, but drop some of the old ones, start something new, do something different. They get monotonous when you've done 20-some seasons. Come on. And
yeah,
there's a point when, again, Simpsons should have died 20 years ago. I love the first.
God, yeah.
The first decade was great. The second decade had a lot of good things in it. Decade 3 and now almost done with the 4th. Fuck you. End it. Especially since it's season 20. Groening checked out. He's not writing it anymore. Fucking Harry Shearer is, and he's a fucking asshole. And his shit is all partisan as hell. Fucking end it.
Oh, I can. Yeah.
And it should have died almost 20 years ago.
Family Guy should have ended at least 10 years ago. At least.
Man, I could never stand that show, so. I never liked Family Guy. I never liked Seinfeld. I never liked Friends. I never liked any of that shit. Ben looks shocked, and I think he froze in the shock face. That's perfect. That's just absolutely perfect. If any face to freeze in, that was absolutely perfect.
Jeez.
But no, I mean, seriously. This is the thing. Yes, I'm opinionated. Yes, I'm a loud mouth. Who doesn't know I'm a loud mouth? I mean, let's be honest.
I'm opinionated. I just, I just can't help but like the first few seasons of Walking Dead. I got wrapped into it.
See, again, I think it's because when it comes to the whole thing about zombies, I just find it so goofy to me. I like them better when they're spoofs and comedy, But they're not bad. It's just not my thing. I prefer thrillers over horror because to me, horror doesn't scare me. So by the time we focus on the scare tactic,
normally I'm not
dead.
No, it's like normally I'm not a fan of. Normally I'm not. Like, that's the thing. I'm not a fan of anything. But Walking Dead still got me into it. It's like I think zombies are pretty fucking stupid, but it was the human story that wrapped me up in.
That's me, by the way. I think zombies are overall very stupid. But, by the way, poor you. You are cutting out so damn much. It's almost impossible to figure out what you're saying most of the time here. But let's go beyond that. No, I mean, it is. It's absolutely comical. It's hilarious. It's all this and that. But I don't know. I look at this stuff and usually I just roll my eyes. And I don't know if that's something about
that's
me.
The thing, though. No, because I think zombies are dumb.
Am am I a cynic, though, because of how much I've been through in my life? That is a possibility, because I have a tendency to be overcritical and over-cynical of almost everything. It's not one or two things, it's almost everything, you know? But, okay, I'm a cynic. Great. I can handle that. Where does it go from there, though? And the thing is, most of the time, my criticisms are, I want more. I want better. I want more creativity. I want more respect to fans. And that's the thing. That's always going to be the thing for me, you know? Man, he is really breaking up. So this is when I take over the show and I talk about being a crazy poet. Because fuck it, I'm in charge now, bitches. Ben's fucking gigabits pixied into oblivion. Nobody wants to hear him. Nobody's going to hear him now. Bye-bye, Ben. It's my turn to run this bitch.
I am back.
Oh, hi.
I moved to the phone.
Hi, Ben. Nothing went on while you were gone except for me trying to keep things running for you.
Well, I don't know how much you heard, but I was saying at first that, like, normally I'm with you. Like, I think zombie shit is dumb, but Walking Dead got me into it because of the human drama and the post-apocalyptic shit. Like, the zombies to me are tertiary.
For me, I'm not a big fan of drama, and I am not a big fan of drama at all. But, so that didn't get me in. And I'm not a big fan of gore. I prefer the silent, creepy. I prefer the what you don't see is scarier than what you see style. To me, gore just to me seems over the top usually and senseless. Whereas I like that you don't see what happens. Suddenly it's there in the shadows kind of stuff. The jump scare kind of stuff. And I'm more into that than the gory. So for me, Walking Dead is the wrong style of creepy for me anyways. I'm more traditional gothic.
Well, Walking Dead's not really supposed to be scary so much. It's supposed to be just intense and, like, thrilling.
But that was me. I tried, I looked at it a little, but I couldn't get into it.
I just, like, because it was a friend of mine that tried to get me into it, and at first I was resistant. Because I was like, oh god, zombies, like, I don't want to watch zombies. But I got in, I became invested in the characters. And that's why I got annoyed that the main character gets written out in season 7, and I'm like, well, then what's the fucking point of continuing the show?
Did you ever watch the show Psych?
I watched, like, a couple of episodes of it. I didn't watch, like, a lot of it.
It is one of those things that it's, for some reason, I just connect to it so much because there's so much 80s reference. There's so much, there's the goof, but there's episodes that are really dark. There's one where they literally start dealing with a serial killer who's killing everyone off after these assholes literally tried to make an amusement park out of a camp where a serial killer murdered this guy's friends. So he came back to get revenge, basically. I mean, some dark shit they dealt with it, especially when you deal with, like, the Yin Yang series and serial killers and stuff. Psych had some dark shit. One of them, towards the end of it, though, they did a spoof episode, which was kind of crossing between some of the zombie stuff and some of the Evil Dead stuff, combined with some of the Freddy and tripping through dreams and shit like that. And it was twisted as hell shit in this episode. And the psychiatrist is basically trying to lead him into these dreams and trick him into having them. It is the guy from Ash and Evil Dead and those. So it was fucking twisted as hell, but I loved the episode because it's got some great scare moments, but it's also got some great, just funny as fuck moments.
Did you ever watch the CW shows, like the superhero shit?
God, no. I would say the last things I used to watch on things like UPN CW and that stuff was way back when they were doing things like Andromeda and shit. Okay.
Oh boy.
So I don't watch them anymore. I haven't in a long time. And Andromeda is another one I think should have ended a little sooner. They did okay with what they had when they did the last seasons. The problem is that they flipped so much of the last season and a half because of Lexa Doig. Because she was pregnant twice in the end of the series. Because in the second season, there was an episode guest starring Michael Shanks from Stargate. And they fell in love on set. By the time they got a couple more seasons in, they were married, having kids. They're still together. And yeah. So they were working around her being on maternity leaves and stuff. And
Gordon,
the end of the series,
on Gotham.
the end of the series, she had a bad pregnancy and she was on bed rest most of it. So they only had her in like a little clip here, a little clip there, and only from the face up as a little talking digit and stuff like this. They worked it out that her android body didn't exist. So they had to create another android to replace her for that time and brought in this other girl. And it got really weird at that point, you know? But there's one moment that made me laugh, and it was a stupid, cheesy line to do, but it was funny. Because there's a point right after she comes back, right at the end of the series, where both of the droids are out together fighting, and this thing starts to attack him. And Lexa's character, Rami, turns around and goes, "We're not the droids you're looking for." And the thing starts attacking her. What the hell was that? I don't know, but it didn't work. It was just such a bullshit moment just for fun, you know? But it made me laugh. She even did the little hand wave and stuff at the thing as it's attacking her.
Lordy. I'm trying to think. There was another show I was going to bring up, but I can't remember. Shit.
Well, we already talked about the fact that Futurama dipped into the hentai atmosphere, so we've gone kind of off the rails tonight anyways.
Well, I mean, we kind of, I mean, the main thing that we're kind of sticking with is how a lot of these shows need to end sooner than they end, because it's like they tend to beat the story to death, or they just go ahead and drop the main story and try to start another one.
Isn't that how it feels every time they announce they're going to do a reboot of an old series? It's like, fucking let it end, die already. I mean, and all the reboots crash within a year or two. They're never popular, but they keep doing it anyways. It's like they did the regroup and relaunched Murphy Brown, and the writers made it incredibly partisan. And the thing is that while she was a liberal in the original show, she was known for being in your face to people on both sides, to the point where she was kicked out of Clinton's White House repeatedly. I mean, the point was that they had the series, so she was in your face regardless of which side you were on. And yeah, she was a partisan in some ways, but at least she wasn't a hardcore partisan, you know? They relaunched the show and it was everything's conservatives bad. It's like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, that's
let
kind
things
of the theme
die.
of most TV now. Like in Gotham, they did this. In season 3, when Penguin runs for mayor, they made it painfully obvious that they were trying to make Penguin look like Trump.
I just had a good day the other day because I literally had SJWs screaming and reading on my wall, calling me a Trump supporter at the same time that I had people who are supposedly our friends in CG bitching at me, calling me a leftist and saying I helped Biden start this war by not supporting Trump. I was like, oh, fucking hell.
Oh, God.
I'm not kidding. And I'll message you the information. One sec here. Yeah, I'm not kidding, actually. And that was... One sec here. Because I'm not going to say that on air because I don't want to create more drama.
Yeah, fun fact about me, I am not
Backstage.
Really a Trump guy either.
Them.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And like, are you fucking kidding me? And it to me, it's just absolutely comical. It's absolutely ridiculous. And then my husband comes in making noise. Yay! But I mean, yeah, that's the stuff. It's like, okay, well, I had both sides ringing at me at the same time. Hey, at least I'm consistent, right?
Yeah, it's like I'm kind of tired of the binary. I'm tired of the you're either on this side or this side. It's like I find that there's good and bad on both.
Yeah. And then there's this little shit trying to brag up, well, I'm getting good grades and I'm in college. It's like, and I don't give a fuck. And so they're going, and Bush started 2 wars. It's like, no, actually, what started those 2 wars had every president play a part in creating that situation since Carter. And one of them was voted on by Congress. He did not declare it. So no, he didn't. He started 1 war, but there are multiple people to blame for that. And I'm not supporting him in doing that, but let's put blame where it belongs. You know?
Yeah. Well, you know, Penguin promised to make Gotham safe again. Get it?
Oh, fuck.
Get the political analogy.
You know, I remember
I don't know if we made it obvious
games
enough.
were such a thing. I remember when the Facebook games were still a thing, popular for people, and I played a few because they're goofy games I can goof off with, right? And pictures started showing up with screenshots, and I didn't believe them, so I loaded the games and started them just to see. And sure enough, a whole bunch of the big name games from all these companies were intentionally running versions of the game where they had quest lines and storylines to bring about something based on the whole hope and change, with the red and blue posters based like Obama's campaign art in the fucking games. And I'm like, oh, fuck you. Block this game, 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 fuck you. But there was one, God, I wish I could remember which game it was now. It was one of the, auto game, let it run once you do stuff, based in like the capitalism and the let them run things. And it was designed as a spoof during the 2016 election. And it had, at the beginning, you pick your side, red or blue. Every character that you would be playing on your side was a spoof making fun of one of the politicians on that side. And they made hardcore fun of both parties in it. I'm good with that. That to me was fucking hilarious. Because it literally was pick your side, and if you pick it was pick your side, and if you picked the party, that was the party they were going to make fun of to you. It was great.
Well, that's why I'm a fan of South Park, really. South Park doesn't pull any punches.
I will never like it because I cannot get over their voices. Even if I could watch it, if I sat down and their voices give me the biggest migraine I've ever had. It's seconds into hearing them talk, it actually triggers my migraines, literally.
I honestly thought the voices are like the best part.
Whether or not somebody likes the voices or don't, they trigger my migraines, literally, physically trigger them. I'm not going through that for any show.
Lordy. Well, the common theme here is
the world's fucked.
my usual.
That's just funny. That's perfect timing. My usual click. Le boot, l'ass. Le boot, l'ass. The boot in the ass. He got the boot in the ass. Ben got the boot in the ass, in the ass. Ben got the boot in the ass, in the ass.
Well, I think that this is probably a good place to call it for tonight because we've been through so much, and my Wi-Fi keeps telling me that the show should have ended a long time ago. But, you know.
Your Wi-Fi keeps telling you that it wants to fuck you.
I decided to charge forward. So anyway.
Ben got the boot. Ben got the boot. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I am Ben, aka Fusebox. If you like anything we have to say, go ahead, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the dislike button if you want to, but I'm not going to be able to see it. So
hit that
whatever.
dislike if you think that I'm a loudmouth bitch, and share this around to all your anti-CG friends so they can troll him for me being a bitch. It'll be doing him a favor because he'll get more views.
Basically, like, any attention is good attention. I'm doing the Disney method. And so, coming up soon, very, very soon, we're going to be launching the mailing list for Outlaw Nights Issue 2. And I can't wait to show that off. I've got artwork that I've been keeping hidden because I want to spring it on y'all like a heart attack. And it's going to be freaking awesome. And so anyway, follow me here. Follow me on Twitter @NightsOutlaw. And Rosetta, where can we find you?
Look for Eagle Rider on YouTube. You'll find it easy with the big girl, busty as hell, riding an eagle. Otherwise, just look for Rose M Queen 1 over on Twitter and watch me smack the shit out of SJWs all day.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's about what I do, isn't it?
Yep.
Do
the music decided to start working right at the the music just had to start working right at the end of the stream. But thank you for joining us, everybody. We didn't have too many people fit in this time, but I'm hoping we'll get some good views in the app, in the replay. Anyway, we will be back next Saturday night. I may do a stream on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on if I could think of a good topic for that. But thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you later.